Does pessimism hurt goal setting? What do you think about that? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about pessimism possibly getting in your way of success. In this video, we're going to be discussing what pessimism really means and how that compares to optimism and how those two characteristics actually do impact your goal setting. Then after that, we will discuss what you can do in a very simple way to become a little bit more optimistic and hopefully improve your success with your goals too. Some people get frustrated when they set goals and then they don't accomplish their goals. And because of that, some people become very pessimistic about goal setting in general. My thought is that probably the people who became pessimistic about goal setting were probably a little bit pessimistic before. Pessimism is actually a mindset that can hurt you with any of your pursuits. Almost any project that you work on or any goal that you have will be damaged if you start thinking that there is no hope. When a person is pessimistic, they are hopeless. They feel like everything is just inherently bad or evil, and pretty much everything in the world is bad. It's going to become bad forever. That is pessimism. It's a type of mindset that does not have hope or faith attached to it. Now, optimism, on the opposite hand, is much different. When a person is optimistic, they trust that nature and order will somehow go to bat for them, that somehow they will be able to find goodness, that everything comes together in some way to provide some sort of good for the person. When a person is optimistic, they are focused on goodness, hope, and faith. Pessimists focus on doubt, fear, they think everything is bad, and they end up feeling rather hopeless. If you feel hopeless, how are you going to stay motivated to accomplish goals? A person does not usually find the strength or capacity to accomplish their goals unless they can maintain a little bit of hope that something different is possible. When a person is pessimistic, they oftentimes take on a victim mentality, and they assume that everything happens to them, and that because it's happening to them, it's not what they want, and it's probably a bad thing. When a person is optimistic, they see themselves as actors who can take steps and make choices. Even if they can't control everything around them, they do know that they can control some things, and they do know that they can have hope because they always can make choices for themselves. Just the sheer fact that they can choose or that they have agency gives them a better outlook on life. This is why it is important for us to acknowledge that we do have choices in all things. On this channel, everything is about self-government. Well, did you know that self-government or self-discipline, self-regulation, self-control, self-management, however you want to call it, self-government is actually not possible for a person unless they acknowledge that they have a choice. If a person is pessimistic and feels like they have no choice, then they are pushing off the possibility of self-government, because self-government revolves around the idea that you can choose, that you should recognize that choice, weigh your choices, and make a choice that's going to be good for you and good for others. It puts a person in a leadership position within themselves. Now, probably you've noticed here on this channel, if you've subscribed to the channel, that there are many skills and principles related to self-government. In this video, I would like to focus on some things that you can do to help you push off pessimism, embrace a little bit more optimism, and start improving in your goal setting so that you can be more motivated on a daily basis. So what should you do if you have this sneaky feeling that you might be a pessimist? Well, first, Just declare it. Okay, I've been pessimistic. That means I'm looking at things through a hopeless, doubtful, fearful lens. And it's not healthy. You need to declare that being a pessimist is not healthy so that you can make a change. So then you might have to say, I want to be an optimist, even though I know that it will take practice. So go into optimism knowing that it will take patience and hard work. You will have to practice it. You won't be perfect at first. You may have to catch yourself having the wrong types of thoughts so that you can replace those thoughts with more optimistic thoughts. In fact, that is exactly what a person has to do to change any type of thought trap or habit that they might think is non-productive. We all have productive thoughts and non-productive thoughts. A wise person is able to classify those two types of thoughts and take their productive thoughts and use them and perpetuate them, and recognize the non-productive thoughts and decide to push them away and drop the subject about those thoughts, not thinking about them again. So what are the thoughts that seem to be getting in the way of you accomplishing your goals right now? What are the pessimistic thoughts? Recognize them. Write them down. I keep thinking that goals are pointless because I never accomplish goals. Now ask yourself a question. Is that fully true? Because we set goals daily, weekly, monthly, not just annually. Are there some goals on a daily basis that you accomplish? Do you ever set a little goal for yourself to get dressed in the day or to make dinner for your family? Maybe you don't think of them as goals because those are things that you just do, but there is a part of you that wants to do those things. So actually you have a goal to get them accomplished in the day, even if you don't feel like it's as formal as writing a goal down. You are accomplishing goals all the time. You're just not recognizing them because they don't seem like the big stuff. So let's change our mindset then. Let's say it is a big deal that I got up today. It is a big deal that I showered, brushed my teeth, got dressed, made my bed. Okay, maybe you didn't make your bed, but whatever you did do, give yourself credit for it. Praise it. Tell yourself that you are the type of person that can accomplish a goal. That is actually you bringing evidence into your own internal conversation so that now you have new information to work with. When you are being pessimistic, you are being selective about the information that you want to use. You are saying to yourself, that piece of information is the only one that's really relevant to my circumstance. And you are ignoring or omitting all of the other information that's out there that you could draw from in order to assess and analyze what you could do to improve your circumstances. So don't be so selective. After you have recognized that you are being pessimistic, stop yourself and say, wait, what else is true? What am I not seeing? There's always what is seen and what is not seen. In 2 Corinthians, it says that what is seen is temporal and what is not seen is spiritual. Maybe you are only seeing the temporal things, the things that you compare to what other people are doing, but you don't see the inner things that you're doing, the good thought you had about someone, the service that you gave to somebody else without thinking, the kindness and compassion. Those are spiritual things. Those are inner things. And maybe you are not seeing them. It could even be beneficial for a person who's dealing with combating their own pessimism to, if they are a prayerful person, ask God for help to recognize when you're being pessimistic and to help you see what is not seen. People who choose to go looking for what is not seen will find it. If you choose to never go looking, then you will be trapped in your excuses and your doubt forever. If you want to accomplish more goals, you've got to change the way you see the world. It's possible. People do it all the time. I have a really good friend. His name's Joshua. Joshua inspires me because he had a good upbringing, but then he had some struggles in his life. He got into some things that he knew he shouldn't be doing, but He just felt like life was so bad that you might as well just get into all of this stuff that isn't really good for you. Then there came a point when Joshua recognized that maybe there was another option. Maybe he could be a different version of himself. What if? He entertained the idea of what if, because in his heart he didn't like that lifestyle. He didn't want to be stuck like that, feeling so helpless and dependent upon certain things to maybe fake happiness for him. So you know what he did? He started following that little question, that what if. What if though? What if I made this little change? What would happen? What if I did this? What if I did that? He changed himself entirely. He is an incredible man and an inspiration to me and many people that know him, because he decided to think about himself and what was going on around him in a new and different way, in a way that asked different questions. If you want to transition from being pessimistic to being optimistic, it is an act of faith. I actually have a whole video on this channel all about optimism and how being an optimist is actually a spiritual thing. It certainly was for Joshua. So be sure to watch that video. But also just learn the skills that you need. You may not have key skills that could make your life easier. What if you started focusing on praising others and praising yourself? What if you started looking at the world through a completely different lens? It would make all the difference. And what if you kept track of it? What if you met together with your spouse or a good friend or someone that really cares about you, and you told them, I think I'm a pessimist and I need somebody to be accountable to? Because did you know that pessimism is something you can get addicted to? It is. It can become a habit, a very destructive habit. So just like overcoming any habit or addiction, find an accountability person, check in with them regularly, and learn the skills you need for success. There are some teaching self-government skills you'll definitely want to pay attention to. Skills such as how to give yourself a no answer and how to follow instructions from yourself. A self-governed person can do those things. If you want to learn more about how to throw off those old thoughts and get some new ones, I would start by watching the video, The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. That would be a great start for you at learning self-government. I'll see you there.